it just didn't feel right at the time, and I turned the opportunity down to move. I want to try and find my heart wants to try and find a piece of property where I can have my home and my studio. I teach yoga. And I have been mildly pursuing it in this county, and it seems very difficult to do this here with the political system and the county regulations. So my question has become that that's where my heart wants to be. That's where I think a lot of healing growth can happen in this county. But financially, the wiser course seems to be to try and find a commercial piece of property and put my studio in a little town, live up above it, but it doesn't have that same feeling. It seems like it's more financially smarter to do that, but my heart seems to want to be in this other setting. So my question...
The question really is, do you want this to change into a business?
Well, it has changed into a business for me. It is my livelihood.
Yes, but you aren't doing it for the purpose of having a livelihood.
No, I am not doing it for the purpose of that. No, I do not ever.
If you don't stay with your heart, it will turn into a business.
Yes.
And you will begin to dance to the tune of money.
I don't want to do that.
That's right.
So what my question is if you could indicate, if you could see, is there a place in this county for this to happen, this dream?
There will be if you stay with your heart and let it lead you.
Okay. Thank you.
It's really very simple.
All right. Thank you.
You are welcome. Hands. The gentleman in the white jacket.
Well, I've just moved to the area, and my life feels like I'm in a popcorn popper. And I have a number of talents for which I'm grateful, but often I feel like I'm pointed in no damn direction. I feel like my guides are probably always trying to get my attention, and I'm wondering what they have printed on the 2x4 they want to hit me in the head with.
Well, it's the words backwards so that you can read them in a mirror. I am not self-determined. If you really get it through your head that you can't lift your little finger without God, you will realize that you can't be in charge of anything, and you'll stop trying to be. And you might say, in the absence of attempting to determine your life, you will panic. And you will reach out for help, because you can't stay in that place for very long without recognizing that you need help. And that's the first step of sanity, you might say. And so I encourage you to to daily and with well, I will say commitment rather than urgency. Ask, what do I do next? Expecting an answer. Because the answer is already being provided. You haven't arrived here without there being a reason. It's not wise for me to tell you the reason because it needs to be recognized by you. But you're not here by accident. You know, a long time ago I said that prayer is saying yes to God. And so, listen, expecting to hear, so that you can say yes to God and be right on target. That doesn't mean don't explore possibilities. It doesn't mean take a long nap till God knocks on your door. Attentiveness is the way you pay attention. Attentiveness is the way you keep your eyes open, so to speak. Attentiveness is the way you stay receptive to God's direction. I just want you to keep in mind that you're not here by accident and that you are on purpose, on the beam. You haven't missed anything significant. And expect what led you here to continue to lead you as clearly as it led you to be here. The tendency is to think, I was guided to be here. Now what do I do? As though things have been turned over to you and they haven't. Okay.
The only problem is the pressure I'm receiving from my wife to hurry up and do this. That doesn't require an answer.
I understand. The question is, where are you going to take your direction from? You are going to take your direction from, you are going to be directed by that which is going to provide you with direction. Pushing you to do something isn't giving you direction. However, you can let her pushing serve to cause you to listen more intently. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hands. The gentleman in the back.
Raj, I wanted you to know that Hamilton and I, during the break, had a truly inspiring and wonderful time of sharing. And I want to thank you for your part in that. That was truly wonderful. And I also want to thank you for yesterday, because it was a wonderful experience for me. And how I was, sharing this experience of I am within me that grows all the time. And yet I said that there was been a falling apart in my life. And I realized that I wasn't real with you about that. And Hamilton was sensitive enough to realize that I had been holding back in that. And I realized that if I don't, it was like Werner Erhard used to say, the only way you can get through something is by acknowledging it. And so there's been 2 areas of my life that I haven't been willing to acknowledge. The first one, and one of the main reasons I'm scared now, is because I have a friend here that I've known for several years. And for me to come out and say it out loud is scary for me. And yet I know that actually that doesn't matter anymore, because I have to be happy in my heart if I want to move on.
Yes.
I've tried to live a double life my whole life. And part of it was being a straight man, being married, trying to acquire possessions, looking like an upstanding citizen. And the other part of me was a gay man who used to secretly go places and really live an unhealthy life. And to tell you that it's a miracle that I am alive, because the way I live.
I just want to make one thing. I want you to be honest about something else. You don't mean an unhealthy life in that it was gay, but that in your gayness you expressed it in unhealthy ways because you did not feel your integrity as a gay person.
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And the way I practiced it was to tell you that it's absolutely, that it's a miracle that I'm here in my body.
I understand.
And my wife knew that knows, my ex-wife, knows that I'm gay. And at first it wasn't a problem in our lives together, but it became a problem because obviously she wanted me to change. And the more we were together, the more that I realized.
Well, it's also difficult to be in close proximity on an ongoing basis with someone who is being dishonest with himself.
Sure. I realized that I created that unhappiness in my family, and the fact, like I said, I couldn't be authentic with my friends, and so the only way I could be authentic was to sneak off somewhere. And when I was here in '98 for Easter, I asked you about integrity, and the bottom line on the answer was living my life without giving a damn what anybody else thought. So I went to California, back to California, because I knew I had to heal my body and my mind and my soul, whatever was going on. And at first, I thought that answer was about being gay. So I've allowed myself to be gay. And but there's a deeper part of that. I got to the bottom line of what you were telling me. And when I was up here before, I was kind of following a friend that was a teacher for me. And the more he became a teacher for me, what he said and what you said for me rang true no matter what in my life was going on. And when I got from you that it was okay for me to be who I was, because I was creating people around me that said it wasn't okay to be gay, that I wasn't spiritual to be gay. I couldn't be a gay man and, quote, like my mother would say, go to heaven. And, I know that that's not true. And the last 3 years that I've been in California, there was part of me that always realized that whatever I was presenting myself to be in the world, that isn't who I am. But I use that as a way to deny my being gay. So now I feel like that I can be here with you and with everybody here. When I was sharing with Hamilton, there was a moment of sharing with another man that I feel like I've never done before. I haven't done in this lifetime, is that just sharing, being back and forth, and I was just being me,
Yes.
I wasn't a gay man looking at a cute young guy,
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And
What you are is not a gay man.
no, I know. Yeah, that's it. I mean, and that's the quandary that I've been in, is because I try to present even to my mother, because my mother, you know, she's 82 years old. I mean, she's already told me I'm going to hell. And so then to put that on top of her, well,
What a surprise she's going to
I'm
have.
going to hell, and I'm going to hell, and I'm gay. Oh my gosh, you're going to double time in hell. It's, you know, that kind of thing. And yet, you know, I know it's okay for me to just be myself, whether I tell her what's going on with me or not. But that,
Let me ask you a question. How many heterosexuals do you think walk around saying, I'm a heterosexual? I'm a heterosexual. I'm a heterosexual. Yeah.
well, it
I
doesn't.
won't tell everybody about it, but I'm a heterosexual.
Right.
It never crosses their mind
No.
to identify themselves as heterosexual or gay or whatever.
Right.
They just be themselves. And who they go to bed with and who they love and who they share intimacy with doesn't identify them.
Right.
And you are
Well,
arriving at a point where this is your fresh experience.
Yes. Well, I had, you know, my wife and I, my ex-wife and I were together off and on for 20 years. And before that, I had a gay relationship for 10 years. And there was no difference in those relationships. Absolutely none. You know, we had a job, we had a beautiful home together, no matter what. But now it's transcending that, because I know that no matter how I've tried to limit myself or try to put a label on myself, this I am that comes through realizes that I'm not gay. I'm not straight. You know, I'm not gay. I'm not any of those things. I'm not an artist. I'm not a musician. I'm not any of those things. I just am. I'm God personified.
Exactly.
And I was saying yesterday how a quandary seems to be, because, you know, it's like I try to make things even more difficult. Like, I realize we're all living a double life. You know, we're living the life that God is within us, and yet the life we're living is denying it.
Exactly.
So I always try to be special and do a triple life. You know, the real life, and then I'm trying to be straight, and then there's this gay guy on the other side. I'm special. And you know, more and more, now the more I think about you and the exchange with Hamilton was so beautiful, because I was able to stand aside and observe. And then, you know, after going home last night and stuffing myself with Chinese food, and then I woke up, you know, I slept really good. I didn't think I would. My neck wasn't bothering me. I woke up and all of a sudden it was very clear. You know, you have to be straight with Raj. You have to.
Oh, you can be gay with me.
Well, sure. Well, I meant gay straight. You know, I mean, I have to tell you the truth. I have to be real. And the more I realize enlightened people are real. They don't hide the truth, you know. They fart and do all kinds of stuff out loud. It's like, I used to be around Swami Muktananda, you know, and he'd sit there and let the biggest farts I've ever heard. And I said, how can an enlightened person do that? You know, he's an elevated being. How can he belch and fart? And then when he'd sing his mantra, it was the most horrible voice I've ever heard in my life. This is not an enlightened being. And plus, he'd watch all the pretty girls really closely. So, you know, this is an enlightened being. You know, and I'm getting more and more, and I'm an enlightened being, and I am getting to the point where, you know, I can appreciate and see life as real, even though there's this, you know, I don't know if I have a question. You know, the more I'm talking.
I will tell you that you don't.
Well, thank you for clearing all that up for me. It's that, all of a sudden, it was so powerful, this exchange between you and Hamilton. And
Do you know why? Because both of us were being genuine.
Absolutely, that was it. I was so grateful to him for him sticking it out with you. He had a statement, and he wanted to hear from you, and he was going to stick with it. And
you see, most often people don't become genuine until they get to the bottom of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And all of their costumes are meaningless. Their costumes have fallen away, and they're there at the bottom of the barrel naked, just themselves. Ugliness personified, failure personified. And when that state of being nothing, you might say, is embraced, and no longer denied, frustration about it falls away. You know you have nothing to lose because you've lost everything. And so there's nothing you need to be false about. And you begin to be genuine. And you find that everyone doesn't run away from you. And you find that you're in your peace, a peace that you haven't experienced before, because always peace was something you accomplished by the costume you wore, or the front you presented, or the lie about yourself that you were living in the world, you see. And that's not peace. You're always afraid the costume will fall off or somebody will see through it.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier that at the bottom line, everybody on your globe, no matter what their cultural background is, no matter whether they are from an affluent society or one that is poverty-stricken, or one like the Aboriginals who weren't poverty-stricken but had little, and that was their choice, and they were quite highly evolved. At the bottom line, everybody has this capacity to be genuine when all of the things that are used to create a sense of difference are abandoned. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, every time one of you hits the bottom of the barrel, where you completely abandon any idea of being personally self-competent, this wonderful thing happens. You become genuine. And genuine doesn't constitute complaining about being at the bottom of the barrel. Genuineness at that point doesn't constitute an expression of anger, because suddenly, with all the facades having fallen away and no intent to use them any longer, you discover that all along you've been very clear.
Mm-hmm.
You have been able to recognize what works and what doesn't. What's right and wrong, but I mean that in the sense of what works and what doesn't, what fits and what doesn't. And where you hadn't been able to express those things clearly because they didn't fit the costume or the facade you were presenting, now you can express your clarity genuinely without fear of loss of any kind, and therefore your expression of genuineness and of clarity has no element of leverage to it. When there's no element of leverage to the expression of clarity, clarity can be heard. When there are elements of leverage to clarity, whoever it's being expressed to will react and respond to the leverage, and the clarity will be irrelevant. And so communication doesn't occur. When you can't do something, you say, I can't do it. And you're being genuine. And when you say it, there's nothing present in your voice that implies that you're saying you can't do it, but you know you should be able to do it. It's a statement of incapacity to do something that is unchallengeable because there's no guilt associated with the statement.
That happened, well, 3 years ago, just before I'd come to the Easter workshop. My life had just literally started to fall apart. And I was late for the workshop, and I came in. As soon as I came in, you started with Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall and did that. And I knew that you were waiting for me. It's like the answer, you came and gave me that answer. Humpty Dumpty had fallen apart and nobody could put him together again. And you said, thank God.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I knew that was going to happen for me. And
it feels like the most uncomfortable thing in the world. But it's breakthrough.
You had told me that, in the integrity, it was that day that I made the decision. I went to my wife and I said, I love you, and I know we've lost everything, but I'm going to heal. And we may not be together, and there might be more changes or whatever it was, and I knew that I was heading into a pit. And I was willing to head into that pit. In fact, I was willing to go back home to be with my mother because I knew that was the only physical place I could have to go. And then I had to let myself completely break down mentally and go to a psychiatrist and get the medication, which I'm still on. And I let myself apply for disability, which I got, because I know even though I have this I am, there is a part of me that is unable in the world because there...
No, there's a part of you that's still stubborn.
Yes,
but
I got it. Yeah.
That is breaking down as well.
Yes.
And you will not need to have the medication indefinitely.
I'm feeling that point coming on now where it's, I'm feeling whole, and I, tell the doctor, I think it's time.
Sometimes it takes a long time to let go of old habits. That's why you're not waking up suddenly. But you know what? It's kind not to wake up suddenly.
Didn't you say once that if we were to wake up once, all at once, if we had a moment that we actually woke up, that it would scare the hell out of us?
What I said was that there would be an experience of discontinuity of identity. One moment you would be yourself as you're experiencing yourself right now, and the next moment the experience would be so radically different that you would not be able to connect the two. You would not be able to have the essential experience of knowing that the you I spoke of earlier, that's very small at the moment, but is absolutely real,